Howdy everyone, CreepyJones651 here, and welcome back to CreepyJones Crazy World. Today we're going to be finishing at least one of these towers today and giving it a brand new look. I decided to go with some black concrete and some yellow concrete to deal with the towers. I wanted to make it look like a sort of large battery. But to start off, I wanted to make a sort of entrance, a place that connected it to the outside parts of the area surrounding it. So I made this sort of doorway leading in, like a electrician's doorway, so that they could enter and fix any problems. I decided to take down all the stone brick next and replace it with black concrete. To make it to where the build wasn't completely invisible and just looked like a black area, I decided to put some yellow concrete on the corners of the tower. These towers would eventually be the generators feeding the beacon in the very center. After I had finished the base of the tower, I decided to finally put the door in because I had neglected that when I made the doorway. So I decided to put it as an iron door to give it more of a keep out type look. Now at this point I was trying to figure out how to open and close the door, but I decided I'd save the redstone bit for later and tried to figure out what to do with this wall. I wanted it to be a wall where people could walk on top of or travel from one tower to the other, but the way I had made it, it was too thin, so I decided to continue work on the tower itself. I decided to build up the yellow bits of the black tower, and figured out it would probably be best to make the top part of the battery first to see where I should actually be aiming for. So I did that, and I came up with this sort of bumpy type look. Sort of mound at the top, kind of like a what you'd see on a AA battery, only on a much bigger scale. It seemed just right, so I decided to continue with that and try my best to blend it in with the tower itself, using gradient from light gray to gray to black to yellow, and then finally back to the tower's original color. Finally, now that I had the centerpiece I wanted, I decided to bring the rest of the tower up to it and then merge it into it with a few more blocks. Now I decided to bring up the yellow pillars first because I needed a frame of reference. If I didn't have the yellow pillars, I would not be able to see the tower I was building. And even with the yellow corners, I still misplaced quite a few blocks and had to break them during the whole tower building process. Thankfully, the rest of the towers were a lot easier. Anyways, mid-tower build, I decided to add a sort of yellow line, making this disconnect from the aesthetic and more towards the functionality of the generator. I wanted it to look like the metal piece that was helping conduct the electricity and not just a roof. So once I got the yellow in place and decided I was satisfied with it, I continued filling in the rest of the tower. I experimented a little with that corner to try and see if there was a decorative design I wanted, but but in the end I decided to just go with the basic structure that I had originally thought out, and this was where most of my mistakes came into play, with the misplacing of blocks because of the black concrete. I can't remember how many times I misplaced a concrete block and had to break it again, but thankfully this time lapse, it makes those mistakes easier to ignore. After fiddling around a little bit more with the aesthetic part, I decided I would actually remove the upper tower part idea and actually lower the surrounding wall a bit to make it look more 3D and less blocky. Even though that's very difficult to do considering everything's blocks, I wanted it to look more round than just a rectangular box. It was around this time when I noticed that it was getting super dark in here, and I decided to light it up with the electrical wire that I would eventually be putting in all my towers. I decided to go with a mix of sea lanterns and glowstone and give this sort of zigzag pattern that coiled itself around the center spire. Sort of like an electromagnet look. That was the look I was going for. But since it's Minecraft, I decided to give it a few different blocks than what would normally be seen. I didn't want to just use iron, so I decided to go for this design. And it actually turned out far better than I expected. So yeah, I kept it, and you'll see how it looks in just a moment. It looks pretty good. Now that I had completed the central wiring, I decided to finish the rest of the wall. Now that the walls were officially done, I decided I wanted to put some design on here that symbolized exactly what this was. To start off, I decided to go with this sort of white line here. It was supposed to be a lightning bolt. Please don't judge too harshly. Spare me. But it was awful, as you can see. It was not going well. So I decided, scratch that. We're not doing that. That's terrible. Let's move on to yellow concrete. And I decided not to do any diagonals, just this straightforward lightning bolt pattern, and oh my gosh, it looked wonderful. However, I did miss a block, so I decided to fix that real quick. Anyways, this looked so great that I decided to put it on all four sides, and it actually turned out really good. now that I was officially done with the structure of the first generator, I decided to take another look at this middle gumball machine, because it really looks like a gumball machine. I decided to make it look more like it was designed to power things, and I decided to put a black band around here to sort of match it with the generators surrounding it. And I decided to add it to the entire frame of the build. This not only helped connect it to the generators around it, but it also helped to give it more depth. After lining the ring around the middle, I decided to line the rest of the iron blocks with this black concrete as well. It actually impressed me that it actually worked. I wasn't exactly thinking this was going to work. It was on my mind for a little bit while I was building the generators on the side, but it separated the glass from the frame a lot better than the iron blocks did. So I was actually very pleased with this and proceeded to do this to all four sides. Now I decided to bring the lines down a bit, but I wasn't sure how far to go because I didn't want it to ruin the aesthetic of the build by putting too much black all over it. In the end, I decided to just connect the areas below the windows where the stained glass was, and it actually turned out pretty good. So I did that to all four sides, and then pondered about what to do with the tower's centerpiece. Well, its tower. I tried some black concrete in the corners, and it actually seemed to fit the build. So I used that on all four sides, just like on the rest of the builds, and I was really curious. I was really struggling trying to figure out if I should line the stained glass at the base with this. I wasn't sure if it would work. Just like the entirety of this build, I have no idea what is going to work and what's not going to work. This is all spur of the moment ideas, and that's what I built. So, yeah. I also built a sort of supporting frame out to the that connected the tower to the sphere's container, and it just kept looking better and better the more black concrete I used. And I decided to switch up my builds a little bit and put a little glowstone sparks on the electricity, and connect it to the tower. Now at this point I was really struggling to stop. I was really struggling with not taking so many aerial views because it looked amazing. Anyways, I did decide to line the base with this black concrete. Let me know if you think it was a good choice or a bad choice, but to me it looked pretty good. Kind of, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of the Washington Space Needle. Yeah, the Seattle Space Needle. So I was wanting to make sure I did the same to all four towers. So I'm actually going to speed this up a little, and we'll see exactly when the recording sites were out of storage space. Now, around this point, I was realizing how necessary having coordinates activated were to the making of these generators, because I had to make them pretty much identical all the way around. So I activated the coordinates, and from there on, it was easy sailing. Now that I had completed the second tower, it was looking even better than I had hoped for. So now that I had completed a second tower, I felt like I should add some sparks, just like the other one. I didn't want to make this electricity look too similar, so I switched it up a bit, making sparks a little higher. Then I figured it was time to enter the center tower. But my gosh, that is a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece, isn't it not? So, yeah, I entered the build. I had to figure out where to go through because I didn't want to wreck the build. But yeah, like I had said in the previous episode, I wanted to make this more like a ball of energy in the center. So I tested out different ways to use the yellow stained glass and the orange stained glass. I figured I'd have like some sort of compressed energy be put into the center, and then have more like a yellow beam like glow towards the sides. I wanted it to look like it was energy being condensed and directed, so that's the look I was going for. Now you guys can be the critic on this one because I'm not sure how well it turned out. I pretty much went with the flow on this, so yeah. But now that I had finished that glowing ball of energy in the center, I decided it was time to work on the third tower and see how much of it I could get done before the video was cut off by the lack of storage space. And just like that, it was pencils down. Anyways, guys, if you have enjoyed this series and you do enjoy watching me do these time lapses, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, click that bell for notifications, and whenever I upload a video, you'll know about it. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them down in I can talk great today. Go ahead and put them down in the comment section below. If you have any ideas you want me to build in this world, let me know down in the comments below. I'll read every single comment I get. But yeah, until next time, blessings to y'all. And I hope you have a great day, and peace out.